So last week what we were doing is we were working on finding the sector area, so that whole slice of pizza. Well, today we're going to be taking it one step further. So we're normally looking for that entire slice of pizza. But like me, you might not like the crust. So what we're going to do today is we're going to figure out how much crust we have. So say I was eating a pizza and I was like, how much am I wasting? We're going to figure that out. And what that is called, it is called arc length. Because the arc is this little section of the circle. So we can do the same setup that we did for sector area, except there's a couple things that are different. We still have the whole circle, we still have the slice, we still have the angle. But because we're working with the outside, remember the outside of this entire thing, the perimeter around the area, around the circle is their circumference. So instead of finding the area, because we don't care about the inside, we only care about the outside, we have the circumference now. And remember, we have those two different formulas for the circumference based off of what information you have. It's either the circumference equals 2 times pi times r, which is our radius, or our circumference is pi times diameter, because diameter is 2 times our radius. So that's why both of those equations work. So let's set up an example and try to figure it out. So for our circle here, we have an angle that's 60 degrees and a radius that is 15, I'm going to give it centimeters. So the angle of the slice is 60. And remember, the entire circle is 360 degrees. So we have our first thing. Now the slice, the circumference of the slice, that's what we're looking for. So that's going to be our x. We don't know what that is yet. And then the whole circle circumference, we have our radius. So it'd be 2 times pi times r, which is 15. I'm going to leave this in terms of pi because I don't know where my calculator is, and it's more exact. So 2 times 15 gives us 30. So the circumference of our entire circle is 30 pi. Remember, if you want to put it in a decimal form, you just multiply that by pi, which is 3.14. Now we do exactly like we did with sector area. So what do we set up? A proportion. So I have my 60 over 360 equals my x over my 30 pi. So we have our proportion, and whenever we have a proportion that's equal, we can cross multiply. So I have 60 times 30, which is 6 times 3, which is 180,000. Mental math is hard, sorry. Yep, I was right. So it's 1,800 pi, because we can't forget about that pi, equals x times 360, which is just 360x. Remember, we were trying to solve for x, so we want to get the x alone, so we divide each side by 360. I cannot do that in my head because I don't want to. So when we divide 1,800 by 360, we end up with 5, we keep our pi, equals x. So that means our crust, our arc length, is 5 pi. If we want to put it in terms of our numbers and not use pi, we multiply it by 3.14, and that's the same thing as 15.7. Very last thing is we don't want any naked numbers. Remember, we always need to include units. So our units here are centimeters. So I would write centimeters afterwards. So we had the same exact setup as we did with our sector area, except instead of finding the area, we are finding the circumference because we're looking for this little arc right here. We're looking for the crust of our pizza.